Blessings, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday today. Just returned from a week of travels or 5 days of travels and serving. Really powerful experience. And just great to be back with you and offering this Diamond Heart Project. This is just the soul's purpose of my life. And so it's straight with great joy to make these videos and connect with you and offer and just be part of all that is. And so, yeah. Today, the video or the teaching is really about the power of intention. Really bring it up. Next week we're going to work on manifestation and really dive deeper into that. And, I believe most of you, if not all of you, have sat in ceremony or treatment or an energy work or something with me at some point in time in our history of relationship. And you recognize that we always provoke or make intentions. We set intentions with the beautiful work. And kind of following up with the power of chanting and the vocal cords, more importantly, remembering that we're, the core of our being is made of light and sound or vibration. And so with you setting intentions, whether it be something you verbally speak to yourself or say it internally to yourself, whether it be an internal voice that you speak to yourself or speak it out loud, like either way, you're still creating a certain vibration of what you're calling forth in the universe. And we live in a yes cosmos, a yes universe. And that universe is there to serve its own evolution, which is part of you and your evolution. And so it's a beautiful divine relationship, and we're going to get into that later on in the course as well. But the power of intention is really kind of how you invoke something that's already there. It's to even have a more of a conscious understanding and more of an expanded version of it. Like your soul knows what it needs in this next stage of evolution for your being, whether it be energetically, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And also know that need or fulfillment of what you're calling forth is already in your field of influence. It's already in your field of your soul's expression. And so you're just calling it forth. You're calling something that's already there. It's like when you have something in your office you need, you go and you find it and you pull it out and you use it. And so the power of intention invokes that. It invokes something in your being that's already there into manifestation or into the ability to use it or receive it as it's waiting for you to invoke it, right? And so the power of intention is just really something that we need to apply in our life. You can have the power of intention when you go into the grocery store. You can have an intention when you sit down to have a conversation with a loved one. You can have an intention, which doesn't just have to be around ceremony. Like you can have an intention in everything that you do. Give you an example. Like I serve you that tea for those of you who sat with Cambo, I serve you this licorice, turmeric, rose tea. And my intention behind that is if you are sitting in a space where there's some imbalance of water and salt in your system, that could be a precursor to hyponatremia, like the licorice in the tea will help curb that. And so my intention of serving that specific tea is for that. My also intention of serving you tea is to make sure that you can hold down water. If you can't hold down a liquid, that means we need to do something else to help shift you completing your medicine process. And so I'm just giving you an example of everything that I do in my life has a certain intention behind it. Like there is a certain reason why I put that crystal on the altar. There's a certain intention of why I feed spirit some certain food today. There's an intention of why I'm eating that kind of food today. There's an intention of why I'm going to go run that errand this afternoon. There's an intention behind all of it. And so when you can begin to invoke, it doesn't mean I have to sit in a half an hour meditation to understand my intention behind what I'm going to feed spirit for food. But there's an intention behind it. And moving through life with an intentional life is very powerful. And it also invokes some empowerment back into you around taking your power back and doing something with intention that is going to be a best of service to your own evolution. And I don't mean you're doing it only for you, but there's an intention of why you go help that person. There's an intention of why you do this. There's always an intention behind it. So having some more awareness around what those intentions are, and maybe curbing the intention to something that's more productive for yourself, or more something that helps support your advancement or your evolutionary process, or your deeper connection to your higher self. And the more intentional based living you invoke in your life, the more you're going to feel that inner wisdom, the inner guru, that intuition, that diamond heart space, this intelligence of the heart begin to commune and team up with you and intentions you choose to create for your life. And this whole process is about creating that communion of relationship with your internal being, and that place of intelligence and that place of infinite intelligence that you carry within your soul, and activating it through the heart to allow that space to guide you every moment of your life. I know you've heard me say this many times, but these are all steps of helping you. And so the power of intention really helps kind of invoke that power of the heart. Because if something's happening and you've made a certain intention on why you do or don't do something, and then you're kind of going against the grain, your intelligence of your heart or your intuition is going to be like, hey, that's not your intention. It's going to remind you of like staying on the course. Not that it's going to correct you or do anything or judge you for what you're doing. It's going to remind you of what your intention is, and maybe give you a little more extra guidance on helping you fulfill that intention with feeding your dog, or why you're going for a run, or going for a workout, or why you're going for dinner with your friend. Sometimes we get distracted. And, an example, you could be going out with a friend for dinner to have a deep hearted conversation about a topic that you find really important. And halfway through the dinner, you forget that why you're there, and your heart intelligence, your intuition is going to be like, hey, remember, we're here with this intention. And so it's one of the facets that really helps to build this inner wisdom and then this inner connection and relationship with yourself, is as the power of intentions. And if you really want to evoke things, like I would speak it to yourself, whether it be in your meditations or driving in your car or any kind of like that. Like, and if you're doing something in a mechanical mindset of like just doing it because it's something you normally do, like maybe stop for a moment. Like, what is my intention behind this process? What is my intention behind this moment? And when you operate from that, as I mentioned, from that intentional space, there are times like my dryer, right? My dishwashing machine is full and clean, but it's not my intention in this afternoon to like do that. And so even though it's there, I could stop at any moment and empty it, but it's not my intention right now. And so it helps kind of stay the path in a beautiful way. And so the power of intention. The second thing is that, I've maybe told a story that maybe you've heard, but for me, when I fully begin to step into that divinity of connection with my higher guidance, intuitive sense, everybody receives their guidance differently. Some people are audible, some people are visual, some people are somatic, some people are, are visceral. Like, there's different ways in which your guidance talks to you, and there's already an agreement with you and your higher self around how that communication is going to unfold. And so it's your job to go within to figure that out and allow yourself to do these practices that helps cultivate that relationship and bring it forth. When I started working with the Buddhist monk priests many, many years ago, couldn't even tell you how many years ago, 14, 15 years ago in meditation, like I felt guided to start focusing on these trickling lights that I would see in my third eye. And it was like a really far off star that was like twinkling. And I would just breathe, and every time I took a breath in, that star would come just a moment closer. And through breath work, and not breath work, but doing breath work as far as the inhale and the exhales over the course of like 3 weeks of, 1 hour plus meditations. Not that it has to take that, but for myself it did. That star came closer and closer and closer until one breath happened, and boom, like this whole space opened up. But I was focusing on that third eye point the entire time. And for me, it was this screen that opened up in the back of my head, like a rear view mirror. And everything there was hand signals. This was a yes, and this was a no. And I could ask direct questions. And this is the way it was for many years. And then it moved into like an audible for a little bit, and moved into more of a somatic or visceral understanding. And then now it's just a knowing. And so it evolves, and evolves based on your development of the relationship with that internal or higher guidance. And so the other part of the video or the guidance for this week is to focus on your third eye point in all your practices, whether it be in your meditations or whether it be in your chanting or anything where you're having stillness, or you're not you need to focus on your third eye for we're doing a workout. But the point is, like, in your meditations or chanting, like, focus on that third eye point, Kundalini. Anytime you're doing any of your practices this week, just focus on that point and see if there's a developed relationship with that space. All right. So blessings to all of you, and look forward to seeing you on the calls on Thursday and Saturday, and look forward to connecting. If you have any questions, let me know. Blessings.